My lesbian era started when my best friend taught me how to kiss. I was 17 when Maya's lips touched mine in her dimly lit bedroom, and in that single moment, every carefully constructed wall I'd built around my identity came crashing down. The taste of her strawberry lip gloss, the gentle pressure of her fingers against my jaw, the way my entire body seemed to catch fire and freeze. Simultaneously, it wasn't supposed to feel like coming home. But it did. And that terrified me more than anything I'd ever experienced. We'd been best friends since middle school. The kind of friendship that made other people roll their eyes at how inseparable we were. Maya was everything I wasn't. Confident, artistic, unapologetically herself in a world that constantly demanded conformity. She wore her bisexuality like a badge of honor, while I buried every confusing feeling I'd ever had beneath layers of boyfriends. I never really wanted performances of heterosexuality. That exhausted me. I told myself the way my heart raced when she laughed was just friendship. The way I noticed every detail about her, from the freckle behind her left ear to the way she hummed while doing homework, was just because we were close. The way I felt sick whenever she dated someone new was just protectiveness. I was so good at lying to myself that I almost believed it. The kiss happened during what should have been an ordinary Friday night. We were in her room, supposedly studying for our calculus final, but really just talking about everything and nothing the way we always did. She'd just broken up with her girlfriend of 3 months, and I'd recently ended things with Tyler, a perfectly nice guy who I felt absolutely nothing for. Maya was sprawled across her bed, her dark hair fanned out like a halo, and I was sitting cross-legged on her floor, pretending to focus on derivatives while actually just watching her talk about her latest painting project. Then she said something that made my world tilt on its axis. "You know what your problem is?" she asked, propping herself up on her elbows to look at me directly. "You've never been properly kissed. That's why you keep dating these guys who bore you to tears," I laughed, nervously, my face burning. "I've been kissed plenty of times," I protested, but even I could hear how unconvincing I sounded. She sat up fully, something shifting in her expression that I couldn't quite read. "No, I mean really kissed. Like kissed by someone who actually pays attention to what you like. Tyler probably kissed you like he was trying to win a race." She wasn't wrong. "And how would you know what I like?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, even though my heart was attempting to escape my chest. Maya smiled, that dangerous smile that had always made me feel things I couldn't name. "I pay attention to everything about you. I have for years." The air between us changed, became electric and heavy. I should have laughed it off, made a joke, changed the subject. Instead, I heard myself say, "Prove it." I don't know where the words came from. What reckless part of me suddenly decided to step off a cliff without knowing if there was water below? Maya's eyes widened slightly, then darkened with something that made my stomach flip. "Are you sure?" she asked quietly. I wasn't sure of anything except that I'd been pretending for so long that I didn't know what was real anymore. I nodded and she moved from the bed to kneel in front of me, close enough that I could smell her jasmine perfume and see the golden flecks in her brown eyes. "Tell me to stop if you want me to," she whispered, and then her hand was cupping my face with a tenderness that made my throat tight, and her lips were brushing against mine, soft and questioning. It wasn't like kissing the boys I'd dated, all rushed urgency and fumbling hands. Maya kissed like she had all the time in the world, like learning the shape of my mouth was the only thing that mattered. When her tongue traced my bottom lip, I made a sound I'd never made before, and she smiled against my mouth before deepening the kiss. My hands found her waist, then her back, pulling her closer because suddenly there was too much space between us. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, I felt tears streaming down my face. "Oh God, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have," Maya started, panic flooding her features, but I cut her off. "Don't apologize. Please don't apologize." My voice was shaking. I think I've been lying to myself for a really long time." She wiped my tears with her thumbs, her own eyes glistening. "I know," she said softly. "I've been watching you lie to yourself and it's been killing me because She stopped, bit her lip. "Because you what?" I asked, even though part of me already knew, had maybe always known. "Because I've been in love with you since we were 14 years old, and I never said anything because I didn't want to lose you." The confession hung in the air between us, beautiful and terrifying. I thought about all the times I'd felt jealous of her girlfriends, and convinced myself it was something else. All the times. I'd imagined what it would be like to kiss her and immediately buried the thought. All the times I'd felt hollow and wrong and couldn't understand why. I don't know how to do this, I whispered. I don't know how to be we this. Maya took my hands in hers. You don't have to figure it all out tonight. You don't have to label yourself or come out or make any big declarations. You just have to be honest about what you feel. What I felt was terrified and exhilarated, and more alive than I'd been in years. What I felt was that kissing her had been like finally hearing a song. I'd been trying to remember my entire life, but knowing what I felt and accepting it were two different things. The weeks that followed were a confused mess of stolen kisses and panic attacks, moments of pure joy followed by crushing waves of internalized homophobia I didn't even know I'd absorbed. I'd been raised in a liberal household, had always supported LGBTQ rights, considered myself an ally, but when it was my own identity on the line, I discovered all the subtle ways I'd been taught that being queer was something that happened to other people. Maya was patient with me in a way I'm not sure I deserved. When I canceled plans because I was too scared someone would notice how I looked at her, she texted me that she understood and sent me playlists of songs that felt like her. When I showed up at her house at midnight crying because I'd just realized I'd never actually been attracted to any of my previous boyfriends, she held me and let me ramble about how my entire life felt like a retrospectively obvious lie. The turning point came at a party 3 months after that first kiss. I'd gone with a group of friends, and Maya was there with someone new, a girl from her art class with perfect winged eyeliner and an easy confidence that made my chest ache with jealousy. I spent the whole night watching them from across the room, watching this girl touch Maya's arm and make her laugh, watching Maya glow in a way she hadn't in weeks, because I'd been keeping us a secret. I'd been kissing her behind closed doors and then acting like we were just friends in public. I'd been so consumed with my own fear that I hadn't stopped to think about what I was asking her to sacrifice. When I saw the girl lean in to kiss Maya, something inside me snapped. I pushed through the crowd of people, my vision tunneling, my heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. Don't, I said when I reached them, my voice louder than I intended. Maya turned to me with wide eyes and I could see the hurt and confusion there. The other girl looked between us, clearly sensing she was missing something. Can I talk to you? I asked Maya, and my voice cracked on the words. She followed me outside to the back porch, away from the music and the people, and for a moment we just stood there in the cool night air, not touching, barely breathing. I'm sorry, I said finally. I'm so sorry for being a coward. I'm sorry for hiding and making you hide with me. I'm sorry for wasting 3 months being scared when I could have been. When we could have been. I was crying again, the words tumbling out in a rush. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Maya, kissing you wasn't just my first real kiss. It was the first time I felt like myself. And I've been so terrified of what that means that I've been hurting both of us. Maya's expression softened, but she didn't move closer. What are you saying? She asked quietly. I took a deep breath, feeling like I was standing on the edge of something vast and unknowable. I'm saying I want to stop being scared. I'm saying I want to hold your hand in public and post pictures of us and tell people, you're my girlfriend. If you'll still have me after everything. She studied my face for a long moment, and I could see her weighing whether to trust me again, whether I was worth the risk. Then she smiled, that beautiful smile that had always undone me, and closed the distance between us. Kiss me, she said, right here where anyone could see. So I did. I kissed her under the stars with the sounds of the party drifting through the windows, and this time I didn't care who was watching. This time I kissed her like I meant it, like she was mine and I was hers, and that was something to celebrate rather than hide. Coming out wasn't easy. My parents struggled with it at first, going through the typical stages of are you sure and maybe you're just confused, before eventually coming around. Some friends drifted away, which hurt more than I expected. School was complicated, full of stares and whispers and occasionally cruel comments that made me want to crawl back into the closet. But Maya was there through all of it, steady and sure, reminding me on my worst days that I was brave and that love was always worth fighting for. And slowly, painfully, I began to believe her. Looking back now, I can see that my lesbian era didn't just start when Maya taught me how to kiss. It started when I finally stopped running from who I'd always been. It started when I chose honesty over comfort, when I chose love over fear. That first kiss was just the catalyst, the moment that made it impossible to keep lying to myself. But the real transformation came in the months that followed, as I learned to exist as my authentic self in a world that hadn't always made space for people like me. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of your own journey or made you feel less alone, I'd be so grateful if you could take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Your engagement helps stories like these reach the people who need them most, and it reminds all of us that we're not alone in our struggles or our triumphs. Maya and I are still together, 5 years later and counting. We've weathered college applications and long distance and all the normal challenges of growing up, but we've done it together. She still kisses me like she has all the time in the world, still looks at me like I'm something precious, and I still remember what it felt like that first time. The shock of recognition, the feeling of finally understanding a fundamental truth about myself that I'd been hiding from for years. My lesbian era didn't start with that kiss, it started with me, with my courage, with my decision to stop performing and start living. Before we end, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below telling me, what was your moment of self-discovery? When did you finally feel like yourself? Your story matters, and this community is here to support you. To anyone watching this who's still figuring things out, who's scared or confused or wondering if they'll ever feel comfortable in their own skin, you will. It won't happen overnight, and it won't always be easy. But I promise you that living your truth is worth every difficult moment. Find your Maya or be your own Maya, and remember that the scariest step is often the one that leads you home to yourself. Sometimes it takes someone teaching you how to kiss to realize you've been holding your breath your whole life. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, that someone becomes the person you get to keep kissing for the rest of your life.